Hello, Chess.com friends. This is Grandmaster Gregory Kaidanov with a video which is geared toward chess players whose USCF rating is below 1500. Though I think everyone will find something useful in what we are going to discuss today. In our first position, we're going to look at several different positions, and I would suggest that at some point you will pause the recording because I will ask you some questions and try to find answers yourself. In the first position with black to move, my question to you is, you are black and you are about to play rook to f6. Do you think it's a good move or not? So what do you think about rook f6? And the answer is that after black plays rook f6, all of a sudden, after rook to g4, his queen gets trapped and black loses the game. So this simple example brings us a question about where most of our blunders are coming from. If you think about the vast majority of chess books, they all have positions in which it says white to move and win. So almost always you are looking for your move and winning move. But if you look back at your games and you look at the mistakes you make, the vast majority of your mistakes fits the pattern which we see in this position. You plan to play a certain move, like for example rook f6, and you miss the opponent's move. So it's not like you can find a winning move for yourself, which of course happens as well. But the majority of games you lose is you miss the opponent's move. And unfortunately, there are not that many books, hardly any at all, which will address this topic. And today we will try to fill this void by going over several positions where you will have to look at the opponent's possibilities and try to find a strong move after your move. It's a little bit different from the topic of prophylactics, which we discussed before, when you look at the position and ask yourself a question: what is my opponent's next move? What is the threat? Because right now, if you look at this position, let's say you play some kind of normal move, rook a8. This would be completely fine. White doesn't have any threat. If white plays rook g4, you simply play queen f6, and you are completely fine. But the problem with rook f6, which by the way, many of you might be tempted to play, because this rook looks annoying, it looks like it's good to trade this rook, but of course the problem is that after rook g4, queen no longer has any squares, and you lose your queen. So our goal today will be, after we find the move we're going to play, look hard for the opponent's next move and try to find the reason why our move is bad. Now we are looking at a different position. So here it's white to move, and position looks kind of messy. So at the same time, the first move looks kind of obvious. We are going to take black's rook. And after this, we're going to threaten checkmate. So here I actually pose two questions for you. Since we looked already at the first position and you know the goal of our training, so first question: what's wrong with queen takes c7? And the second question is, what should you play instead of it? And the problem with queen takes c7 is, though this looks fantastic move, white is threatening two different checkmates in one. However, black can force a draw by sacrificing a rook. In this particular case, white is not losing. However, this just leads to a perpetual check. Black queen will simply go along the third rank, and white king has no way to escape. It's a draw by perpetual check. At the same time, if white, instead of taking the rook, will simply take this pawn, he has a big advantage, pretty much a winning position. At this point, g3 is very well protected. The rook is still hanging. Even if black takes the rook, white will take this rook now, and with this pawn hanging and this pawn hanging, white and an upper pawn, white is winning. So there is a big difference between queen takes rook and queen takes pawn. And let's be honest, queen takes rook is so tempting that most of you probably would play this move in the game. In this position, it's black to move. And let's say I'll give you a choice. So two of your candidate moves are, let's say, rook e7 and knight e7. Which one would you prefer? From purely positional point of view, knight e7 definitely looks like a preferable move, because knight is completely out of the game. This is not a good piece, and it looks very tempting to bring this knight into the game on a better position. But once again, what kills black is tactics. And by the way, the same motif which we saw in the first game, the trapped piece. So in this position, turns out that white plays g4, attacking the bishop. Bishop has to move, and almost anywhere bishop moves, h7 or e4 after f5, all of a sudden our rook is trapped. So if we go back, we realize that by playing knight e7, we take away the square from the rook, and we're in trouble. So though rook e7 looks somewhat an awkward move, and black's position definitely remains worse, at least we're not losing right away. So we give bishop some more space, like now after g4, maybe we can play bishop e6 followed by bishop f7, and there is material equality, the game continues. Here, we're looking from white's point of view, and I'll give you two candidates move. One is h5, and another one is rook e8. So think about those two moves and let me know which one would you prefer. White's position is much better. He has this very strong pawn on f7. He has extra pawn to begin with. And it looks like almost anything is winning for white. However, in the game, a very strong grandmaster played this move h5 and lost game instantly. So the problem with this move is that he missed black's idea. Black has this queen b4 move, which creates a double attack on the rook on e1 and on the checkmate. And white is losing on the spot. Having he played rook e8 instead, he would win the game, because queen b4 is obviously not dangerous. We can just take the rook on f8, and move like queen g1 check is no problem. Both bishop d1 and even queen d1 are completely fine. It's especially interesting to look at this position, because black pretty much losing because of Zugzwang. I mean, white is winning because of other reasons. I mean, white has many winning plans, but if you look at black's pieces, black cannot move almost anything. Like, for example, after h6, g6, the only things he can move are those pawns, and after he runs out of pawn moves, then the game is over. Black is losing. But as soon as you miss the opponent's idea, you lose a game. One more time, when even strong player, most likely he was in big time trouble, but paying attention to the opponent's moves and seeing his threats is a huge part of being a good chess player. Here is white to move, and white has a very cute tactical shot. At this point, we can play bishop takes c7 and win a pawn. Do you think there is anything black can do? And of course there is a problem with bishop takes c7. Looks very good. After bishop takes c7, rook takes c7, rook takes b4, we feel like we tricked black. We won the pawn, he can't take our rook because we're going to take his rook. But unfortunately, black has what we call in-between move. He can double rooks on the c file, and all of a sudden, black has two threats, and white cannot stop both of them at the same time. So rook c1 checkmate, the back rank problem, and h takes b4. And because of this, white is losing. And again, let's be honest, the majority of you, as soon as you see this move, will feel great and will go for it. And what this game shows to us that you need to go a little bit deeper and try to find the best moves for black. It's almost like you have to have a feel of danger. You have to worry about things in order to find the best moves for your opponent. At this point, white to move. He's up in exchange for a pawn. There is no question that black has compensation for the exchange. However, it's a game. Well, I mean, white definitely is not worse. And I give you a choice between two moves. Knight c5 and rook e1. Which one of those two moves would you prefer? And the problem is that after knight to c5, which looks like a perfectly fine move, it looks so good. We are attacking the knight on e6, we're attacking the bishop on b7. Matter of fact, we're threatening to take on e6 with a check. What could be better than that? Turns out that black has this quite difficult move to see. He has this move bishop to h6. By attacking our rook, he indirectly stops queen takes e6 check, and after we move our rook away, black has bishop e3 check, quite a devastating move. And if we move our king away, for example, king h2, after queen b8 check, black is one move away from the checkmate. Bishop c7, queen takes c7, checkmate. So once again, the ability to see the opponent's moves is a key. However, rook e1 is perfectly fine. Black's only move is bishop d5. And if now we play the same move, knight c5, then it shouldn't be a problem. Bishop h6, no longer a problem, like knight c5, bishop h6. And now we have several options, though it's still not easy to find the way to stop bishop e3. But for example, a move like queen e5 will do it, because after bishop to e3 check, we actually can simply take this bishop, then take another bishop, and white is winning. In this position, it's black to move, and two options you have. By the way, white sacrificed a piece for a moment. Black is up a piece. However, it's clear that white is going to win his piece back. So there is a fork on this bishop and this knight, and two options which you have, because you're going to lose a piece, doesn't matter what. But I'll give you two options. So you can either play bishop takes f6, or you can play bishop h6. So in both cases, you give the piece back with slightly worse position, looks like. However, one of those moves is much better than the other. So bishop h6 or bishop takes f6. Pause the recording and decide for yourself which one of those two moves is better. And unfortunately, bishop h6 is losing on the spot. And that's a move which was played by a strong player. After bishop h6, black is losing not one, but two pieces back. Turns out that white doesn't have to take this knight right away. Instead, he has bishop e5 move, which creates a double attack on the queen and the bishop, and it allows white to win a second piece. Black will have to move the queen away, and wherever he moves his queen, white is going to take this knight first with another fork, and after queen takes e4 check, white is up a piece in completely winning position. Please note that taking bishop first is also okay. I was going to say it's not good because of knight d5, but then I realized that after e4, it still works for white. In any case, bishop takes f6 is pretty much the only move. After bishop takes f6, bishop f7, black is still worse, despite being a pawn up. This bishop is too strong, so white is better. However, game continues, unlike in the case with bishop h6 when white wins on the spot. So hopefully our today's exercises will help you to develop this sense of danger. This is what we try to do today. Before you make your move, look very carefully for the opponent's move and try to develop this sense of dangers that, oh, he might have something. Because unfortunately, most of us, we fall in love with our moves. Like before we play our move, we usually feel good about our position. And going just a little bit deeper, maybe 1-2 moves deeper, just asking a question, what is my opponent's next move if I play that? Because your move always changing the position, and your opponent can do something on the next move. And looking for this next move is something which will allow you to save a lot of points and avoid a lot of blunders in the future. This was Grandmaster Gregory Kaidanov. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope to see you later at chess.com with new videos. Goodbye.